what's up guys? Movie Maniac here. So, after that awesome trailer of Godzilla, that just made me wanted to do a Godzilla-thon review. I mean, just, if you don't know what that means, I want to review all of the Godzilla movies. All 28 movies. Well, I mean, 29 if I was going to count the American version, but I am going to count the American version because that movie is actually kind of important to my life. And I will tell you why when we get to there. But, you know what? Since the new Godzilla movie is coming out, and since I'm a big, huge Godzilla fan, I mean, I have a t-shirt of it. I mean, I have most of the movies. I have most of the action figures behind me. And I decided, you know what? Since I'm a huge fan of Godzilla, and I thought, why not? A Godzilla review, all the movies. Even the ones I haven't seen. I mean, there's some I haven't seen that were not released in America, I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen Destroy All Monsters yet. I haven't seen Godzilla 1985 yet. But you know what? I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch all of them. I'm going to try to, like, possibly watch all of these until we get to May 16th. Which that's when the new one comes out. So, why not? Let's start off with the original classic, Gorjira. Gorjira, also known as, that's how they say Godzilla in Japan. And yeah, and of course I also got the DVD too. Gorjira. So, this is a really, really good start off for the original. I mean, for me, I'm a big, huge film buff. I mean, usually I love like those kind of movies that kind of change cinema and history. Like Star Wars, The Godfather, Sunset Boulevard. I actually kind of think that could be part of it. But, you know, I also think Godzilla is also part of a big, huge movie cinema that changed most horror movies. I mean, first of all, let's talk about the story first. The story, well, as you kind of guessed it, it's mostly Godzilla just going to Tokyo and just destroying buildings. That's about it. But that's what most people think. But here's what really the plot is. First of all, Japanese scientists has found these interesting radiation parts and tracks that they found of a missing creature. What they think Godzilla is a cross between a dinosaur, like a T-Rex, or Stegosaurus. Well, Stegosaurus because the spine's on his back. And yeah, that's what they're debating. And now they know that Godzilla actually exists. Godzilla just going around destroying Tokyo, and Japan has to do something about it. So they go to this one scientist named Dr. Sarasawa, who created this huge device called the Oxygen Destroyer, which technically I still don't know how it works. I'm still trying to get that in my head, but the way how it works is that whenever you put the Oxygen Destroyer in underwater, and what living creature underwater, if they put the Oxygen Destroyer underwater, then that means it'll like release out all this oxygen that all living things underwater can't breathe. Which obviously that's what they're going to do with Godzilla. Although the scientist doesn't really want to do it because he doesn't want this weapon to be used in the wrong way, which that's what he thinks what they're doing. But he had to do it because, you know, Godzilla is destroying Tokyo and he has to do something about it to destroy this monster. I mean, that is such an interesting story. That's such an interesting story, especially the last part is mostly about like the guy who made the atomic bomb. I mean, actually, it's very interesting. Like what I said before with Dr. Sarasawa doesn't want to use this weapon. That's the same thing. That's the same thing to the guy who invented the atomic bomb in the 1940s. He didn't want it to be used for like the wrong kind of way and all that stuff, like war and stuff. He doesn't want that. But even though he has to do it because Japan just won't stop. And that's the same thing for Godzilla. He won't stop. So, yeah, there has to be put an end to this, which I think that's really interesting how they attribute that to America. So, yeah, one thing about this movie that makes it so good is just how they give the moral to the story. I mean, just, first of all, Godzilla is created by nuclear radiation. Basically, when they were doing their atomic bomb testing, that's how Godzilla was created. Which I think that's really interesting because they're trying to give out this sort moral that we shouldn't use these kind of nuclear weapons in the wrong way because, you know, what if something bad could happen? What if something bad as like Godzilla could happen or something like that. That's what the film is trying to like give the message to, and I think they were doing that so perfectly well. I mean, usually with movies and morals, it's either that they try to push the morals into our faces, like okay, we get it. But with Godzilla, you can easily get it by just the visuals. I mean, just if you just look at it, you could just easily tell like nuclear bombs, bad, just all the way. And I really love the way how they try to give the message. Also, I love the way how the movie takes itself seriously. I mean, even though the movie is made in the 50s, which that's like the era of horror movies and sci-fi movies where like everything's B horror movies and stuff. But the thing is with Godzilla, it takes itself seriously. I mean, even it's directed and written by the same guys who like experienced for such a threat like that, like the nuclear bomb. Which I think that's really interesting, and I love the way how they take it so seriously and make the story and just the whole movie dark, and I absolutely enjoy that. Yeah, the story is just really fantastic. The actors and the characters, well, this is like pretty much the only Godzilla movie where I actually do care about the characters. I mean, there's a few other Godzilla movies I would care about the other human characters, but the human characters in the original, I really like them because, just the way how they look is so horrified, terrified about this Godzilla. I mean, not like cheesy sort of horrified, like, oh, it's this monster. They really take it seriously, which I definitely really enjoy that. Let's see, what else? Another thing I really like about this movie is just the cinematography. I mean, just the camera angles and shots on Godzilla, just looking at how huge he is and everything. I love those shots. It just makes Godzilla so big and huge. Also, another thing, I love how this movie is black and white in order to make the movie a little bit more grittier and just darker, and it makes Godzilla even scarier in black and white. Also, Godzilla, man. I mean, it's no mystery that this guy is in a rubber suit. I mean, we all know that, but what people don't know is what does it be like to be in the suit. I mean, I watched a few documentaries where, like, the guy inside the Godzilla suit, he said it was such a horrible experience because, for one thing, the suit is very heavy, so it's really hard to move. So he had to like move it in a certain way that how an animal would move. Give credit to that guy. It's just very interesting. Also, you can't see anything, so you don't know what you're doing. And of course, there's like all these pyrotechnic fires and everything during the set while he's inside the suit. I mean, it got so hot in there, he actually passed out, I think twice. But yeah, that must have been horrible to be in that suit. I mean, give that guy some credit, and especially give him credit for all the movements he done for the Godzilla creature. Just absolutely amazing. Like, and the way how he moves and everything, I just like the way how an animal would move. It's just really interesting. I guess that's all I have to say with the 1954 Godzilla. But overall, I think it's a masterpiece to me. I love it. I mean, this movie is flawless to me. I mean, I love the way how it takes such a cheesy idea, but just making it into a serious, dark, gritty movie, which I definitely really enjoy that. And of course, the original Godzilla will always be a masterpiece. I would give it an A quadrillion plus, up there in my top 10 favorite movies. So yeah. But I'm not done with the review. I also need to talk about the American version. The one by Steve Martin. Raymond Burr. Because Raymond Burr plays as a character named Steve Martin. So I'm going to keep this one short. So I do like the American version, like just the way how America is. I mean, I think it's pretty sad that the Americans, like, they had to cut down some things from the Japanese movies. Because America, I'm just going to say it. I'm American, but Americans are stupid. That's all I have to say. Americans are stupid. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. Americans are stupid. They can't even get Japanese culture right. Even 1998. Heck, we can't even get our own culture right. But for the most part, they cut down most parts of the movie. Mostly the good chunks, which I think that's really kind of bad. And also the English dubbing of the Japanese characters. I'm just like, oh boy, this is great. But then he also added in an American actor named Raymond Burr, who plays as a character named Steve Martin. I mean, not the comedy guy Steve Martin, but just a character named Steve Martin, a journalist. Which I do kind of enjoy. I liked his acting. He was really good, but he's narrating throughout the whole movie, which I find that well, cheesy. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of find that really cheesy that he's narrating. I mean, most of these kind of 1950s horror movies around America, they always have to give some sort of narration, which it kind of makes it cheesy. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of sad. That I don't know, the American version didn't really feel like it was that gritty enough like the original. It just kind of felt, well, cheesy. The only thing that's memorable about it, though, is the title, Godzilla King of the Monsters. I mean, if you just say that to yourself, you're just like, yep, he truly is the king of the monsters. Which I really like that. So yeah, so the American version isn't as great or neither as a masterpiece as the original Japanese version. But it's a good start off for any Americans who don't care about Godzilla. And if you just watch the very first one, the American version, then that's fine. But for hardcore Japanese Godzilla fans, then just watch the original version first. And then go to the American version. So yeah, so I'll give the American version a good B+. I mean, still a good movie, just not that great. But yeah, so that was the original Godzilla. Next up in our list is Godzilla Raids Again. So my last question today is, what did you think of the original Godzilla? Comment that down below. Check out my other videos; they're really cool. Like and subscribe. Like my page on Facebook. See ya.